which I think is really interesting. The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Because how does Crawford compete with that size? Crawford is leapfrogging. He goes to
He's
super
goes
middleweight.
47 to 54 and now to 68.
And the Madrigal fight in 54 is a difficult fight.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock the world.
1000%.
I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he...
Roy Jones Jr. surprised boxing enthusiasts when he abruptly changed his stance on the imminent mega bout between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford.
Canelo's taking it serious. It's going to be a much harder fight for Bud than I anticipated. I still think Bud has the skill to beat anybody on any night, but so does Canelo.
Initially, he favored Crawford as the fighter, more likely to emerge victorious. But after observing Canelo's intense training regimen, he conceded the outcome might not be as clear-cut as he once believed. Jones noted that Canelo's preparation, particularly his sparring with boxers who can shift stances like Crawford, has made the matchup much tougher to predict. It demonstrated that Canelo was driven, focused, and prepared to challenge himself for this contest, and that fresh perspective from Jones instantly set the stage for what many are calling the fight of the century.
I have mixed feelings, I have mixed feelings, and emotionally, I'm very happy that the fight is happening because it's a great fight for both fighters. Initially, I thought maybe Canelo didn't have the hunger to go out there and really try to keep Bud off him or try to go at.
The platform could not be grander. On Saturday, September 13th, under the bright lights of Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, the Mexican icon Canelo Alvarez will protect his undisputed super middleweight title against Terence "Bud" Crawford, the unbeaten American moving up to weight classes for the opportunity to carve his name into history. For Crawford, now 37 years old, this is not merely another bout. It is a chance to become the first man to secure undisputed championships across 3 distinct divisions, having already achieved that honor at both super lightweight and welterweight. The stakes are enormous. The spotlight is dazzling, and anticipation across the boxing world has reached fever pitch.
He's a beast, and he's out to prove something too, so I'm excited about this fight. Canelo obviously is self-explanatory. There's really no need to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to him, but I do see this being as a 50-50 fight. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on Crawford, but also too, you can't count Canelo out. I mean, would go in, I'm assuming, as the favorite, which is right.
Timothy Bradley has been vocal about his position. He has been insistent that Crawford will not only triumph, but will do so in spectacular fashion. Bradley envisions the Omaha native delivering one of the most remarkable performances the sport has ever seen, overpowering Canelo once he adapts to the heavier man's strength. He believes the disparity will be so evident that it won't even seem like a fair fight once Crawford finds his rhythm. For Bradley, the narrative concludes with Canelo on the canvas and the cameras capturing history as Crawford delivers a knockout that boxing fans will discuss for generations.
One thing, it don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, It ain't been like, wow, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Victor Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they're testing, I'm good.
While Bradley imagines a scenario of Crawford dominance, Mexican legend Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. offers a contrasting viewpoint. The 3-division champion views size and strength as the critical factors. From his perspective, Canelo is simply too large, too powerful, and too entrenched at 168 pounds for Crawford to manage. Chavez foresees a mid-fight stoppage, picturing Canelo wearing down his opponent within 6 or 7 rounds. In his opinion, Crawford may possess brilliance, but weight classes exist for a reason, and he suspects that reality will overtake the American once the exchanges grow heavier.
Bueno, es una pelea muy dispareja, la verdad. Crawford es un gran peleador, pero no tiene nada que hacer en ese peso. Con todo respeto, él va por el dinero y Canelo lo va a noquear.
The two fighters are going to be different weight classes, even though they're going to fight on a specific weight. He believes that they're just going because of the money, Crawford. but probably Canelo is going to knock him.
Other prominent voices in the sport have weighed in with their own insights, each heightening the allure of this matchup. Dimitri Bivol, one of only 2 men to defeat Canelo, was initially doubtful about Crawford leaping so far in weight. Yet, after recently seeing him in person, Bivol admitted Crawford appeared larger than anticipated and physically well prepared. He acknowledged the American's exceptional skill set, which could certainly lead him to victory, but refrained from making a firm prediction, noting that the fight carries too many subtle variables to be easily forecasted.
First reaction, of course, it was about size of Crawford. Is it okay for him to move up for 2 weight classes? Yeah, and he has very good skill. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use 2 boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
British boxer Hamza Shiraz, who has recently been gaining attention and is eyeing a potential clash with Canelo in the future, has also been closely monitoring the situation, coming off a decisive victory over Edgar Berlanga, a fighter Canelo could not stop. Shiraz believes Canelo will still prevail in this contest. For him, the Mexican's experience, power, and ease at super middleweight make the difference, and he expects Canelo to walk out with his hand raised.
Who's the next? Could it be Canelo?
It could be. It could be. I feel like I've done what's required of me to earn that fight. Some people might disagree, but I believe I've done enough. And it's about staying switched on, staying concentrated, and just beating whoever they put in my way.
How do you expect his fight with Terence to go in September?
I expect the fight to be very competitive for the first 6 rounds, and then Canelo to take over and dominate.
Carl Frampton views the fight through a unique perspective. He has long respected both fighters, but he believes Crawford's style and timing might be sufficient to reveal some of the weaknesses he sees emerging in Canelo. Frampton observes that the Mexican is not as swift on his feet as he once was, and attempting to corner Crawford could leave him pursuing shadows. He envisions a scenario where Crawford remains on the outside, leverages his range, and outboxes Canelo to a points victory, even if it means the bout lacks explosive moments.
I think it's a great fight. It may not be the best fight in the world to watch, you know. I think that for Crawford to win, it'll have to be a boring fight. I think he uses distance and his movement. I think Canelo's feet are a little bit slower now than they used to be. I think Crawford wins. I said it when he beat Earl Spence and everybody laughed at me. I said it that long ago, and I genuinely believe that Crawford wins.
Antonio Tarver shares the conviction that Crawford has the skills to stun the world once again. He doesn't overlook the threats Canelo poses in the ring, but he highlights Crawford's mental acuity and ability to adapt as pivotal factors. In Tarver's view, this is not about who is stronger or heavier, but about who can make the correct choices under pressure. Crawford's speed, ingenuity, and ability to disrupt Canelo's rhythm could prove decisive if he remains disciplined.
Terence got to be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.
Landy Lara, who once faced Canelo in a debated fight, thinks Crawford's best opportunity lies in movement and ring generalship. Lara himself built a career on frustrating opponents with clever defense and elusive footwork, and he believes Crawford must employ that same approach. Engaging in close-range battles would favor Canelo, but forcing him to chase and controlling the distance could shift the advantage to Crawford. For Lara, discipline and poise are the true tools Crawford needs.
There's a very interesting 50-50 fight. He feels like Canelo's very strong right now, and he wants to figure out to see how Crawford's going to handle the power, especially in the early rounds, and what's going to happen. Yeah, he said he remembers fighting Canelo back 14 years ago it is now, and he said he remembers he uses legs real good, and as long as Crawford uses his legs and he doesn't let Canelo just hit him in the arms and beat him up in the arms, he has a very good chance of fighting.
Trainer Abel Sanchez approaches the bout with caution, particularly regarding the physical demands of such a significant weight jump in a short time. He notes that while Crawford has added muscle, it typically takes years to fully adapt to a new division. There's a risk that the extra bulk could hinder the very speed and agility that have always been Crawford's strengths. If even a fraction of that quickness is compromised, Sanchez warns Canelo will be poised to capitalize and impose his power.
To have a guy come up from 140 pounds in such a short period of time, I'm not saying he couldn't have done it. If he'd have taken 3 or 4 years like Canelo did and built up not only his strength but his bulk in the correct way, he would have had a better chance. But to do it in these 14, 15 months that he's done it in.
Andy Ruiz Jr. emphasized that styles often outweigh size. He respects both competitors, but points to Canelo's history of struggling against slick southpaws, a category Crawford fits perfectly. Ruiz believes the matchup is so closely contested that predicting a clear winner is nearly impossible, though he acknowledges that Crawford's stance and sharp boxing intellect could pose significant challenges for Canelo.
I know that if you were in a Canelo-Crawford card, that card would be a million times. It's still an amazing card, but you would have added a lot. Who wins, Canelo or Crawford?
I think it's going to be a good fight, man. I'm going for Canelo, of course. You know, he's the Mexican warrior as well. But Crawford, man, you can't neglect him or you can't underestimate him as well. You know, he has a lot of skills, a lot of movement. He's a lefty as well. That's what Canelo has trouble with. I think it's going to be an amazing fight, man. I just can't wait, and the best man wins.
Finally, Andre Ward provided perhaps the most detailed analysis. He stressed that both fighters are hybrids, neither pure sluggers nor pure technicians. Each knows how to blend power with strategy, and each can adjust tactics mid. Ward believes that victory won't hinge on who can hit harder, but rather on who can stay disciplined and avoid the temptation to become reckless. In such a closely matched contest, losing focus, even briefly, could lead to disaster.
I'm going with Terrence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terrence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terrence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat.
As the fight approaches, the boxing community remains sharply divided. What everyone agrees on is the enormity of this showdown. Canelo has been one of the sport's most dominant figures for over a decade, conquering multiple divisions and building a resume that few can rival. Crawford, meanwhile, has steadily climbed the ranks, collecting belts, dismantling opponents, and maintaining an unblemished record. His leap to super middleweight is bold, risky, and unprecedented, but it also holds the potential for immortal greatness. To capture undisputed championships in 3 divisions would solidify his place among boxing's all-time elite.